bet you weren't ready to listen to a man moaning in the microphone, because that's what everyone wants to hear. Hello, I am Tuna of the First Stand Tuna podcast, your somewhat favorite home for Rams content and shenanigans, which we're doing here. It's prime offseason, and we've got it kicked off pretty fun so far. What we're actually going to do today, former guest Blaine Grisak of Turf Show Times wrote an article about 2 weeks ago prior to the Stafford resolution on his contract, prior to Alaric Jackson getting re-signed, prior to the Combine. And I wanted to take a little bit deeper of a dive into this article written by Blaine, kind of highlighting what he thinks is key, like a prediction of the offseason. So let's just dive right into it. Yes. Good old Turf Show Times by Blaine Grisak here. Mock Offseason predicting every offseason move as Rams make a Super Bowl push. Predicting every move for the Rams this offseason as they look to make a Super Bowl push. Emphasis on that Super Bowl push. This is not a rebuild. This is not nothing besides that, which I'm on board with that completely. The reason why I wanted to highlight this article is just because Blaine is like locked in. And the only person more locked in when it comes to Rams needs is going to be Jordan Rodriguez, Stu Jackson, people who are actually in the building. For somebody who's not in the building, I think he's on the East Coast. Like, the guy is super locked in. He was at the Senior Bowl. He was at the Combine this last weekend. This guy, huge Rams fan, and he's going to do his due diligence to see what's the best thing for the Rams all season long, all year long. So, really wanted to highlight his article. And if you have not already, make sure you're subscribing to him on social medias as well as here. Hit the like, subscribe, all that YouTuber stuff. Anyways, let's take a look. There's some things on here I do agree with, some things I don't. And then we're going to have our own version of this week on the website. So, kind of this is his summary, his intro. Rams do enter an exciting offseason. They once again will have a first-round pick, which is looking to get over the hump as the team came 14 yards away from hosting the NFC Championship game. So they are top contenders in the NFC. Now it's getting over the line to compete for another Lombardi trophy. I think getting over that line has to do with explosiveness. We've seen what the core, the base of what success looks like for this team. Now it's about explosiveness. Look at what the Eagles did getting Saquon Barkley, that defensive line, that defensive front. There's going to be some key names that really step out here. So let's take a look at it. He has the current depth chart, practice squad, and IR included. We're going to bypass all this. If you're keyed in with the Rams, you kind of already know what it looks like. Working the cap. So this is kind of where some of the Band-Aids need to get ripped off for the Rams. First one he has on here, trading Cooper Kupp. Kind of excerpt from this. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like. Will this be another less need trade special? Which, unfortunately, I do agree. It's going to be where we trade away like a fan favorite. And the only way to get this done is a future day 3 pick swap. I'm not against those as long as you're unloading a lot of cap. Look at what the 49ers just did this past weekend with Deebo Samuel, unloading his contract, I think, fully based on early reports for a 5th rounder. Getting back a day 3 pick is not bad as long as you're not having to pay all that cap. But the Rams already come out saying that they are potentially going to absorb some of Kupp's contract in order to entice other championship caliber teams. Anyways, Jason LaCanfora of the Washington Post has allegedly spoken to general managers saying the Rams are willing to take on $5 million of that. Isn't terrible. That's kind of doing a solid since you are trading away a Rams statue-worthy player, honestly. According to Spot Track, the Rams will save approximately close to $12 million in the Kupp trade. They take on around $5 million. Do the math, 6.56. The Athletic recently proposed a trade to the Houston Texans. I like this comp a lot. Getting back a 2025 4th-round pick, plus John Mechie. John Mechie, he has a fantastic story if you haven't heard his story before. I think it was – I'm going to be so mad at myself if I get this wrong, but I think it was cancer. I think he overcame cancer or some other illness. Great story. If I'm saying great story, I should have the details. Sorry. but getting a 4th-round pick. In return, they'd be getting Cooper Kupp plus $5 million essentially in the cap because we'd be taking on some of that. Not terrible because they do need a wide receiver. I know they've got Stephon Diggs. I know they've got Tank Dell, who is going to be coming back, I think, at some point this season after his gruesome leg injury. And then Nico Collins, who has had some injury problems. Having a savvy veteran like Kupp would do them a lot of favors. Hate to see him go, but if that's what we're going to get back in return for an explosive player like John Mechie, I like that a lot. And then here, he hit it right on the neck, extend Matthew Stafford. Won't get into the details there because, I mean, trying to figure out what a player is worth versus what they're going to get back, team in a return. He's here. We have Matthew Stafford. So green check mark for Blaine getting that one right on the nail. Here's some cuts, though. Here's where it gets a little interesting. So cutting Jonah Jackson, I wish we trade him. I really hope we trade him, getting back some compensation in return for what a lot of people are going to call blunder on the Rams side for signing Jonah Jackson such a huge deal. It's not as big as of a risk as people were thinking, yet it sucks not having that money there. But even if we kept him for some reason, if for some reason he was just dealing with an injury or, was having a hard time adjusting, what if he's solid this year and we kept him? Like with Avila and Limmer and Jackson kind of rotating 3 men over those 2 spots. Yeah, you're paying a lot for Jonah Jackson, but because you're not paying a lot for the other 2, you're essentially shoring up that you have some depth at the interior at 2 different positions, and you should be good. Although Jonah Jackson in limited play time this season really wasn't that great. So trading him, would love to see him go somewhere. I comp them going to potentially Chicago because they have the cap and because his familiarity with Ben Johnson in Detroit previously. But based on this article, cutting him, Rams would save only $2.3 million, but a $4.6 million cap hit as a backup. Frame it that way. Pretty tough to swallow. Cutting Darius Williams, kind of torn on this one. Garbage Durant played well on the perimeter last year. Darius will be 32. That is old for a DB. Sorry, Darius, if you, for some reason, see this. I don't know why you'd watch this. Yeah, he was a Band-Aid on an issue. The Rams are so used to having like a marquee guy like a Jalen Ramsey, like a Marcus Peters. They could hold on to him for one more year, but 13.6 yards per reception was 10th most in the NFL. I'm curious on what the splits are on that because I'm sure Williams' second half of the season was better than the first half, similar to the whole defense. But it does feel like the secondary minus like the safeties and the nickel. The secondary, like on the outside and the perimeter, they struggled the most at times between him and Akello Witherspoon, him coming in mid-season. And the pass rush and then the front 7 really hit a lot of holes in the secondary, not giving quarterbacks enough time to carve us up. Yeah, I'm curious what they do there. Cutting Colby Parkinson, another. It just these 3 right here, it just emphasizes as great as we want to. What is going on with the ads down here? Emphasizing like not every free agency signing is a hit. I know I feel like it's a running joke now that like we had said F them picks and we went and signed big name guys, but a lot of free agents the last few years have just missed. Allen Robinson, Jonah Jackson, Darius Williams. We've got some bangers in there. Like that's some really good with Kevin Dotson. It was a huge one. Kello Witherspoon, you count him? Yeah, he played great. And I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, as of recently, these 3 maybe didn't take the Rams over the top like they were really hoping for. Cutting Colby Parkinson, it wouldn't be surprising if the Rams move on from one of Colby Parkinson or Tyler Higbee. As of this morning, I just saw Stu Jackson say that Higbee will be returning for 2025. Higbee is 32, but when he came back in the last year, he had a huge impact on the offense. He did. They did seem a little bit more explosive, have that other option. I still would like to see them add a rookie at this position. But moving on from Colby Parkinson, he was brought in basically to be a blocker. They'd save $2.2 million in the process. There isn't like a big marquee name that the Rams could cut to save a chunk of money. I think it's death by a million cuts. Like you save 1 here, 2 here, 5 here. adds up to maybe having cap space to sign a big name free agent if they want to go all in like they did in 2021. Okay, I like that. Here's another one that's going to have a lot of people torn. You're going to have some fan favorites in here that a lot of people will just want to see come back because we love them. We do. They are good players, but sometimes you got to make those business decisions, which the Rams are good at. So, running through this list, stay or go and pending Los Angeles Rams free agents. This one I like a lot. I've been high on this guy since he came in. Dylan McMahon, interior offensive lineman. He can shuffle around. I think it was between both guard spots, and I think a little bit of center, which is phenomenal based on what happened last season. He was picked up originally as an undrafted free agent by the Eagles. If you're going to take a risk on a practice squad player that another team vetted out and did their due diligence, and I'm sure the Rams did as well, maybe they missed out on him in those tenderings. But the Eagles, you look at what the Eagles can do in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I'm going to trust that Eagles front office and their coaching staff on what they see in Dylan McMahon. We brought him over mid 3/4 of the way last season. He was a sixth. I should read before speaking. He was a 6th-round pick by the Eagles, not undrafted. I'm dumb. But yeah, 6th-round pick. I do like it under $1 million, or even if you want to extend him a little bit further, I think bring him in. I think that's a great piece to have. Jake Hummel, I'm high on Jake Hummel. I like him a lot. Special teams player, locker room guy. Say whatever you want about players like Hummel. First in, last out, real gym route. But anytime that there's plays to be made on the special teams, he seems to kind of be around the ball. I like him a lot there. Yes, another green check mark for Blaine. Sign Alaric Jackson. I agree. A lot of people wanted to maybe see a rookie, maybe go get somebody else, maybe Staley from the Ravens. I like Jackson. Like the offense runs well with Jackson. He knows the system. He wants to be here, and he's only 26. Like guys cost so much more money at this age when they're entering their prime. He's just entering his prime. They re-signed him recently. Congrats to Jackson getting that bag. Congrats to Stafford having his backside protected. Michael Hoyt, bring him back. That's it. It's not going to break the bank. I think he knows his role here. I think he wants to be here. If I'm not mistaken, he's got a Rams tattoo or LA tattoo. Keep him here. He's got to stay. He's kind of that veteran leadership needed on the defensive line of a group of really young talent. I think he needs to stay here. Jimmy Garoppolo. This one I'm 50-50 on. Let's see what Blaine says. Rams shouldn't draft a quarterback for the sake of drafting a quarterback, a la Stetson Bennett. That may be what he's talking about there. Garoppolo is a fine backup option that can operate the offense. Stafford gets older. There will be pressure to add a young quarterback, not name Stetson Bennett. However, they need to be smart about it as well. They simply is not the year to do it. Justin Fields can't play on time and isn't accurate. Zach Wilson may be intriguing given his connection with Michael Floor. Still, bringing Garoppolo back makes sense. The reason I'm 50-50 on it is I think this year is the year to bring someone in just because a lot of folks are down on this quarterback class. Even the top 2 picks are very polarizing on who is actually good. Are they only first-round picks because they're just the best of what's available? And any other year, they may not even be second-rounders. Everyone's got their opinion on it. I like Justin Fields. I like what he's done. So I think you can bring in a rookie. Someone like a Kyle McCord would really fit. I think given a year to really develop and get stronger in certain areas, I think would be great. I even like the Justin Fields pick. If you're going to go Justin Fields, you want to go rookie instead. Jalen Milroe is a good comp with very similar traits. Simply because I think, and I can go on a tangent about this and I'll try not to, I think having a wrinkle in a McVay offense where he starts introducing an RPO aspect, not a complete overhaul, because obviously like Matthew Stafford and the quarterbacks that McVay likes isn't going to run that, but just having a wrinkle of RPO should Stafford get injured or should a changeup be needed for some reason. Imagine McVay with a mobile quarterback. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's great. But if we're just going to stay safe, we know what Jimmy G can potentially do. I think he can win games, especially in the postseason. He's shown he can do it. Add more weapons around him on offense, and I do like this. So if they're not going to go rookie, just stick with Jimmy G. Sign Tyler Johnson. Bringing back Johnson, experienced player for depth won't hurt. Um, remember we did trade for John Mechie in this scenario. So bringing him back as a fifth wide receiver with the option to draft a player, sign a top free agent is a good option. Only reason I'm kind of out on this, I think we can do. I hate saying this because Tyler Johnson is talented. I think we can also upgrade the fifth position as well by utilizing Xavier Smith a little bit more. I think he has more upside. I think going into his third year, he's going to have more to offer in regards as a deep threat, which was what Tyler Johnson. I mean, that fifth spot could be like your deep threat, like your gadget type of guy. I think Xavier Smith fits that role really well. Plus, I think bringing in a more dynamic rookie would help as well here. Sign Hunter Long, yeah. I mean, especially on special teams, need him. End of story, sign him. Neville Gallimore, and this is where we start getting into who we move on from. I'm going to bleed in this Neville Gallimore with the rest of these guys. So Neville Gallimore, I think Tyler, oh my gosh, not John. Here, edit this part. Not Johnson. Who's the rookie? I'm dumb. Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis, Neville Gallimore. I think you bring Gallimore back because he showed some really good signs. I think he's a great run stopper as well. Tyler Davis showed a lot of explosiveness. And based on recent activity on social media that we're seeing from Bobby Brown, I think the writing might be on the wall here. I'm a huge Bobby Bear fan. I think he's like underrated. And if he is going to go somewhere else and get a bag, I think it's very well deserved. Based on what I'm seeing, his interactions plus how I think the Rams operate as a business, unfortunately, I don't think the Rams want to pay him what he's owed. And I say that emphatically because I'm a huge Bobby Brown fan. I think we benefit from him staying, but because of how the Rams tend to operate around this position, which Blaine's new article points that out, came out today. Check it out. I don't think they pay him. So in that case, you're going to have to re-sign somebody. You don't want to just swap out everybody at that interior line position. So bring back Gallimore. I don't think he'll be that expensive of a cost to the cap. Moving on. Some people are going to love this. Some people are not. Tutu Atwell. I'm one of them. Another guy that's like super talented, can do a lot of things, but for some reason McVay just hasn't used him effectively. Let him go get money somewhere else. Like help him. Like you better sign a very warm recommendation letter for this guy because he can do a lot of stuff. I don't care about his size. If he can ball, you can ball. It's just for some reason McVay hasn't used him. Joe Noteboom, I don't think he played as well as he probably could have as a backup role at right tackle. I think bringing in some rookie talent would help. Running through the names, DeMarcus Robinson, Christian Roseboom, Ahkello Witherspoon, Bobby Brown, John Johnson, Connor McDermott, Earl Murchison, Troy Reader, and Ronnie Rivers. One that stands out for me, the Marcus Robinson. I just think they've gotten the most that they probably feel they can from D-Rob. Another fan favorite, love him. Didn't like the DUI bullshit earlier. Like, if he was driving under the influence, it comes out like you gotta be better, man. You gotta be smarter than that. You're not 21. The John Johnson one hurts because I think having some leadership there, but I think Quentin Lake keeps making steps, and I think they lean on Quentin to be that veteran in the backfield. And Troy Reader, yeah, I see Troy Reader going. I think they're ready to move on. And Ronnie Rivers, you already got two small running backs that kind of fit this mold here. Fresno State legend Ronnie Rivers. I think they do move on from him. Bring in a different form of running back, like a different skill set that fits well with our run scheme. Like all difficult decisions though, because we all love these guys one way or another. Some of these are very difficult decisions. Rams may opt to bring back Ahkello Witherspoon, especially if they let Darius Williams walk, which would be smart. But it really just depends on free agency and depends on what he's going to ask. Ahkello put on a lot of good tape where he can justify getting paid a lot of money. And again, go chase your bag. We're always one person that says, go get as much money as possible because these franchises, I love the Rams, but they will, I don't say stab you in the back, but they will cut your contract as soon as they can if they find no use for you. So get as much money as possible. Draft pick allotment for the Rams, dive headfirst in free agency. account for how much the 2025 draft class and signing bonuses for undrafted free agents will count against the cap. Cap space needed for the draft class is just 2.63. I think Snead says they like to keep at least 8 or something for that. But I just highlighted that because how much detail Blaine puts into these. He's not just, oh, let me just have a few names thrown in here to pop and make my article look good. Motherfucker does the homework and he cares about how this operates. Like he's trying to be a GM when he's writing this. Unrestricted free agency starts March 12th. We're almost there. Got about 9 more days. All right. This is the part where I don't agree with any of these free agents. Everyone's going to have their opinion. I got my own. Sign wide receiver Chris Godwin. Contract estimated 3 years, $67 million. That's a lot of money. Coming off a dislocated ankle. He's 28 years old. At the same time, Liam Cohen's offense, which is similar to what the Rams won. Godwin was on pace to have a career year before the injury. This doesn't eliminate the Rams from drafting a wide receiver on day 2. Seems unlikely T. Higgins becomes available. They did franchise tag him, but I don't know. For what Chris Godwin does and bring, I think there's more upside from a few rookies in the draft that are potential wide receiver 1 guys that bring a different skill set than Puka Nacua. It's a lot of money. I see the fit. I see it. I just don't like the cost it comes with, if that makes sense. If we're going to spend that much money, I would rather see that go towards a perimeter corner. That's where I think the big free agency signing should come. I like the John Mechie pickup, and I think you pair that with another rookie, and you let Matthew Stafford make them all look good. Sign cornerback Paulson Adebo. Not going to lie, I have not watched a lot of his tape. But for $6 million, here we are. We're satisfied in the corner need. He's another player that made my 2021 Snead Snacks. He does have a series going of Snead Snacks, of Snead-type guys. We all know he's got a type. Wouldn't be surprised if the Saints try to bring him back. At the same time, they have a lot to figure out cap perspective. Like, they could cut the whole team. They could cut the janitorial service. They could serve only $1 hot dogs at Costco, and they'd still be over the cap. His alignment, versatile, can play both boundary and in the slot. He isn't afraid to come up and make a tackle. All traits that make him out to be a Snead snack. Sign linebacker Jamian Sherwood. Oh, sorry about this one. Again, I just think shoot for the moon. I'd like to see a bigger name get signed. Which one that is kind of depends on, as we see, and up until March 12th, if anybody else becomes available, because it just seems every day somebody is requesting a trade, somebody wants to be released, surprise releasings. So let's see what happens there. Sign linebacker Jamian Sherwood. Estimated cap hit $2.8 million based on these numbers. It's always difficult to know how the Rams are going to approach the linebacker position. There is a chance that they completely ignore it until the draft. I think so. I know he really wants Jeffrey Bassa. I like him a lot. I like guys like Barrett Carter in the draft at Clemson. There's a lot of guys that just really stand out that I think if you just need someone to be inside linebacker 2 with Omar Spates, maybe you go the rookie route. Jamian Sherwood, even for this low number, you're looking at him to potentially be the dot wearer on the defense. So, especially this part, torn Achilles in 2021. I just think the Rams are in a position where they don't have to opt for the guy with the broken wing. I think we do that enough and shoot ourselves in the foot. He is younger than Dre Greenlaw, which he said, 2 years removed from injury. He also led the NFL in tackles last season. Again, the signing of Sherwood doesn't limit the Rams from also selecting a linebacker later in the draft. So you see, he thinks about these things in layered aspect. And then he's got some depth pieces. Dylan Raduns, but moving off note, boom, necessary over the last 4 years with the Titans. Experience at left tackle, guard, right guard, and right tackle. Just an overall depth piece signing. I like that a lot. Especially with Lyman. Lyman, I feel like you get these guys with a chip on their shoulder and you just let them go crazy. Kind of what happened with Dotson. I think Dotson came in with a chip on the shoulder and really impressed everybody. So let's quickly run through the draft part. I'll try to take 120 seconds to do this. because this has changed dramatically since the combine, since interviews happened. Like his first pick at 39, he's mocking that the Rams are going to trade back out of 26, which a lot of people were saying that they should. They don't get exactly who they want at 26. So they're picking at 39 and 72. I think Jahdae Barron, I think a lot of people are expecting him to go top 15. Like a lot of mock drafts I'm seeing, he's going like top 10. So he may not even be here unless something cataclysmic happens. So, but addressing corner early second round is not terrible. You got Siobhan Rebel there. I think Zach Z Thomas out of Florida State, who is my personal favorite corner in the draft, may be there as well. So not a terrible idea. Jaden Higgins, he's very high on him from the Senior Bowl. Ridiculous. Like the guy is awesome. He's 6'4", runs 4.4 something, just a beast. Despite adding Chris Godwin at wide receiver, free agency, and John Mechie in the trade, wouldn't limit the Rams to finding that wide receiver. It could be that guy, another deep, big body, outside threat. Ozzie Trapilo, another Senior Bowl. Love that he wrote about. Great guy. His comp to the pros is actually Rob Havenstein. So cool. Let's just get his junior at the right tackle. Tight end Terrence Ferguson at pick 100. I like it. He'd be like the third wide receiver tight end on the depth chart. Linebacker Jack Kaiser. He's a dog. Look at this. Boom. Looks like he gets cut. Nope. It just bear dives right over it. I like it a lot. Dude's a baller. Notre Dame's defense was pretty good this year too. This guy, sleeper. I like it. Good pickup, Blaine. CJ West, Indiana. Indiana played great football on defense this year. They made a lot of noise in the Big Ten. CJ West, dog. Look at this play right here in the middle. Edit that part out. I like this pick a lot. 127, CJ West. Indiana played a lot of good football on defense. Don't sleep on this guy. He's a beast. This one, Kyle McCord, Syracuse. I think he's quarterback 3.5, tied with Jalen Milroe. I like this pick a lot. Probably get him in the 4th or 5th round, depending on how that quarterback run goes. Bashal Tootin, I think his draft stock rose, so he probably won't be here. Ran a 4.3 something. Has a fumbling problem, though. It really scares me a lot. And then defensive line Cam Jackson, you're just looking to add depth piece here. He'd be interior defensive lineman number 4. Gives a new post 2025 NFL draft depth chart, and has a wrapping up. But with these moves, I just wanted to highlight what Blaine, how he does. He was on the show 2 weeks ago from Senior Bowl. He's going to come on soon again and talk about the combine. He updates frequently. Go to turfshowtimes.com. Go look at Blaine's content. He does really good work. Good shit, Blaine. Just wanted to highlight you a little bit. And, yeah, see you guys soon. Bye.